my discretion. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Highland Park Scots Lacrosse. You are looking live at Highlander Stadium in Highland Park, Texas, as Game On Sports Network brings you live exclusive coverage of tonight's interstate high school lacrosse match between the San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons and your Highland Park Scots. Alongside Jim Dixon, this is Brian Shackelford, welcoming you to tonight's broadcast here at Highlander Stadium. And Jim, we have a rare treat this evening for Texas high school lacrosse fans as the Highland Park Scots welcome one of the most storied programs in California high school lacrosse history to Highlander Stadium this evening, and the Torrey Pines Falcons from the San Diego area. This is a high school program that boasts 69 players who have moved on to play college lacrosse, 32 U.S. Lacrosse All-Americans. This team ranks perennially in the National High School Top 25 and is the current four-time defending California Interscholastic Federation state champions. This California Torrey Pines program has appeared in 10 of the last 11 California Interscholastic Federation state championship games, winning 6 of them, the last 4 in a row. And now they bring their high-intensity game to Highlander Stadium tonight to face a Highland Park Scots team that is ready for the challenge.
Yeah, and you got Highland Parks rolling in here with a lot of momentum behind them, playing some quality opponents early, down in the Houston area, and really exhibiting what they got. They were challenged and put the wheels back under the cart, and did a great job with that. And Torrey Pines comes in here, and these guys are, they are spitting out talent left and right. And it comes down to kind of geography, but Torrey Pines is coming in here to Texas to pick a fight because they're coming in here to two of the top dogs in the DFW area, and the way the THSLL plays out, obviously the state. And this is going to be a challenge for Coach Pressler tonight, and look forward to a great game. And I know I got here early, and these guys were fired up. Torrey Pines was ready to roll.
Yes, indeed. The Torrey Pines Falcons on spring break this evening, and they're here for a 2-game swing. And folks, now we'll step aside for our national anthem. And nothing like the national anthem on bagpipes to get a Friday evening of lacrosse started here at Highlander Stadium, Jim. And as we were saying prior to the anthem, where the Torrey Pines Falcons on spring break this week, they've decided to come to Texas for a 2-game road swing. They've got the Highland Park Scots here tonight at Highlander Stadium in what is scheduled to be a very exciting, intense matchup. And then tomorrow, to add insult to injury, if you will, they're going to take on, the Torrey Pines Falcons rather, are going to take on arguably the best team in the state and the 2-time defending Class 2A champion Jesuit Rangers. Yeah, and I think the ironic thing that Torrey Pines is going to figure out is how much talent is in the same zip code. I mean, they're literally. I mean, I would just go get a
you go get a hot sheet joint down on down on the toll road and saddle up and get my game on in the morning and get out of town.
Indeed. I mean, the two schools only 2.4 miles apart, so definitely a interesting 36 hours of lacrosse action here, about 48 hours of lacrosse action ahead of the Torrey Pines Falcons. And folks, before we get ready for tonight's matchup, we're going to take you to our highlight video prior to tonight's game.
We've done both, new and pre-owned. It's the same experience. It's everything's the same. They make it too easy to even think about going anywhere else.
Discover our wide variety of pre-owned vehicles at Sewell.com today.
I put a lot of mileage.
And folks, while we have a moment here following the video and a short commercial break, let's set tonight's starting lineup for you. For Highland Park on the attack tonight: number 19, Duncan Zilke; number 20, Harris Sands; number 8, Parker Addison. Addison was a standout about a month ago in a game that we brought to you from Houston, as Houston Straight Jesuit played the Highland Park Scots, and Highland Park won that game. In the midfield, Frank Musa, Wesley Iverson, and Ben Boyer, your defensemen tonight. Keller Holmes, Henry Richter, Benton Owens. And in goal tonight for the Scots, number 16, Ben Abel. And folks, the face-off, and we're underway here tonight at Highlander Stadium. And the sidelines very close here on the near side, actually on both sidelines, Jim, as there is maybe 2.5, 3 yards between the sideline and the concrete barrier walls here at Highlander Stadium.
Oh yeah, it's tight. And Ben Boyer made it a really small field on that face-off win for Torrey Pines, and they went up top.
A shot in the opening goal for the Falcons with the score. That's number 1, Jacob Mendez, one of the leading scorers for Torrey Pines. That is his 36th goal on the season, and here we are just 30 seconds into tonight's match, and it's already Torrey Pines 1, Highland Park 0 with 11:27 to play in the first.
Yeah, Mendez got up top, rolled through, goal line extended, gave a little head fake, settled his man, and just went, as soon as the pole dropped in, he just went top shelf up over Ben Abel's stick. And Ben was set up on the inside, unfortunately, and that thing rolled right into the back of the crease. And
the scrum picked up by the Fogo specialist for Torrey Pines. That's number 40, Chandler Castor. He's already won 2 tonight. 70% face-off wins for Castor here this season, but quickly a turnover to Highland Park as they'll now go on the offensive job here in the first minute. And there's a goal for Highland Park. It didn't take long as number 12, Quinn Gordon, will equalize for the Scots, 1-1 with 11:08 to play.
Yeah, Gordon, I mean, the Highland Park was not going to set up. Gordon just kind of glided around, found his opportunity, and just attacked quickly, and they're bringing this thing back even. And you got to like the fact that they're willing to play fast ball with them, and let Frank Mosa get his kind of feet under him, and they'll start developing a little bit of more offensive rhythm from that. But Mosa early in the season has lost in fits and starts, but has adjusted, and obviously is doing so now.
And Musa again winning another faceoff, although a loose ball, the ground ball scooped up by the long stick midi for Torrey Pines. They'll go around the back of the net with the goalkeeper, Andrew Cook. the junior goalkeeper in net this season with 173 saves. A turnover now as Highland Park has gotten the ball back quickly on the attack. Wesley Iverson, the senior captain, shot, save Andrew Cook. And a scoop up there, and from what we can tell here in the opening 2 minutes, Jim, this is going to be a fast-paced, furious match here tonight at Highlander Stadium.
No, they're going to throw bodies at it, and they're going to run each team off the field, or try to.
And Torrey Pines may have the advantage in bodies there. We'll see the ball picked up here on the near side, number 44, James Duncan. And they'll put the Falcons back on the job. Mendez, the goal scorer for the Falcons. Working in X, they work over to the far side. The Torrey Pines Falcons tonight in the black jerseys, black shorts with maroon numerals and gold trim. And your Highland Park Scots in the all white this evening with navy letters and trim here tonight at Highlander Stadium.
Yeah, they're going to try and work the perimeter, see if they can open up a lane. Nothing happening.
Blake Washburn, number 23 for Torrey Pines, tried to work that in. They'll come all the way back up top near midfield with Matthew Manarino. The defenseman being marked there by number 13, Alexander Shadle. So Quinn Gordon, one of your senior captains, the goal scorer for Highland Park, 1-1 as we play lacrosse here with 9.5 minutes remaining in our first quarter at Highlander Stadium. And now Torrey Pines wants to slow things down a little bit. A shot from distance. That shot from 35 yards out by number 12, John Pryor. And the ball across the end line. No Falcon back there. It will be Highland Park ball.
Yeah, and on that series, Shadle's the one that really kind of pressed him. He came out off the perimeter, set his feet, guided his man down the center lane, and then came back out on the wing to force the turnover on the far side.
The long stick midi, number 24, Henry Richter, brings the ball down, but they had too many men on the offensive side of midfield. Turnover to Torrey Pines quickly on offense. The Falcons look to shoot from the near side. Nice defense there, getting back. Number 6, Brian Rapp, to guard Jacob Mendez. And now the Falcons will set the job up again, working up top. That's number 17 in black and maroon, Matthew Manarino.
Yeah, the Falcons, Brian, have no qualms about working long passes across the field, and hopefully Highland Park can identify those targets and shut that down.
The shot clock down to 45 now for the Falcons as we play lacrosse with just over 18 minutes remaining in the first period. 1-1 your score here tonight at Highlander Stadium. They'll work back in X. That ball almost lost by James Duncan. As Duncan wearing number 44 this evening, he'll try to attack from the near side. Shot and goal for Torrey Pines. Ben Abel was not expecting Duncan to come back from X and take the shot over his shoulder. Goes top shelf on the far side. 2-1 the advantage for Torrey Pines.
And if you look at those two shots, they're basically, if you drew lines at the approach zone on the net and where those were shot, they're virtually shot from the same angle. So I think they see something they like from that side, and they're trying to work that lane up and get leverage and come back. The slide needs to double out on the perimeter, which really going to tax your long poles.
And a face-off foul, and possession awarded to Torrey Pines. So picking up the ball quickly for the Falcons, bringing it across the timeline. And going on the job, that's number 25 for the Falcons, Benjamin Trask. Mendez working in X. We'll take it back across to the far side. And as you mentioned earlier, Jim, the Falcons not afraid to use long passes, letting the ball do the work here in the offensive end.
No, I mean, and they are a perimeter team. They're going to use the entire length of that half field.
Coming in now for a shot, going back to X. They'll come back to the near side, far side. Shot, bounce shot, save Abel. Off his left ankle and out of bounds. And Highland Park first to get it. It will be Scott's ball now with 7:19 remaining in our first quarter as the Scots trail 2-1 early here in this intrastate high school lacrosse matchup.
And that's a pure hustle possession with Ben Abel back behind the goal, just hustling after the shot, and Highland Park able to maintain possession.
And senior captain Wesley Iverson, number 15, working up top with his fellow senior Quinn Gordon. Two of your senior captains here this evening as Gordon tries to work the far sideline. He'll bring it into the middle, 50 on the shot clock for the Scots. Now Iverson trying to get inside. backhanded shot. The ball comes loose out of the cross. Still a ground ball, now picked up by a long stick midi for the Falcons. They'll work him down into the corner, and he gets rid of it just before it gets out of bounds. A nice move there by number 50, Tasman Wall, to save possession for Torrey Pines.
Yeah, Harris Sands back there with some great pressure back through the end line.
And now working in the middle of the field, number 12, John Pryor, the midfielder for the Falcons. He's being marked by his counterpart, Quinn Gordon. Is Gordon trying to get the ball away from Pryor? Instead, they try to go inside on a shot. And the long stick meeting on the near side for your Scots. Number 2, Benton Owens, will gain possession for Highland Park. Abel way downfield finds the cross of Alexander Shadle. And now Shadle and the Scots go on the attack as the clock moves past the midway point of our first quarter here tonight at Highlander Stadium.
Yeah, and Shadle's going to hold out on perimeter. They're going to adjust. They're going to roll in with some speed here and see what they can do. Highland Park, I mean, they have an awful lot of tools in the chest.
And coming down the far sideline, that's number 23, Jack McCallum, fresh in the game. A shot and a save down on his knees. Andrew Cook scoops that up with the big net. And he'll offload up front. Torrey Pines now back on the attack with 5:20 remaining here in the first quarter. Across the timeline, number 25, Benjamin Trask. Marked there by number 27, Colin Hale. And now 2 men in X once again. And this is a familiar pattern we've seen so far tonight for the Falcons. When they want to take some time off the clock, Jim, they'll put 2 men back in X and work a very wide counterclockwise circle.
Well, that and it also presses Highland Park into closing those lanes, and they have to know which lane to shut down, and it kind of it mitigates your slide.
Mendez coming back up top, working with Chase O'Connell wearing number 16 this evening for the Falcons, and a foul call there. No, a timeout. They're saying timeout taken by the coach for Torrey Pines, Jono Zizzi, and Zizzi saw that his player, number 16, Chase O'Connell, was in trouble being double teamed there, and the officials rule he called the timeout while the Falcons were still in possession.
Well, you know, and really no man's possession, which is your possession. You had, the last time that, you know, when the ball's down, you know, you have to know when. You have to know when the ball's down, and you know, you're spending valuable timeouts for a possession.
And folks, we'll step aside here for a brief timeout. We'll be back in 1 minute here on Game On Sports Network.
Sewell is definitely a part of my family. Everyone, you know, just has this great smile that we are happy to see you. We're so glad you're here. They really care about people, and that's not something you find at every dealership. I love to leave a dealership feeling peaceful, and I've never experienced that until Sewell. I drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Buick GMC.
I actually look forward to car shopping with Sewell.
And folks, welcome back here to Highlander Stadium. Brian Shackelford alongside Jim Dixon. And Jim, a timeout taken here by Torrey Pines, one of their 2 they have here in the first half. They lead 2-1 with 4:46 remaining. And as you were saying before we went to commercial break, the outside perimeter game played by the Falcons here early is forcing Highland Park to alter their defense in ways that we don't normally see here in the Texas High School Lacrosse League.
Well, yeah, you're really closed in on the goal, and you know, that's the way they're used to playing. These guys are athletic enough. I mean, you're just throwing an extra 10 yards on them. I mean, they just have to adjust to that, but they certainly have the skill, ability, and conditioning to handle that adjustment.
Working on the far side now for the Falcons, number 16, Chase O'Connell. The ball back in X. An unforced error out of bounds. And this will be Highland Park ball. They'll go back on the job with just under 4.5 remaining as they look to equalize here as we approach the end stages of our first quarter.
Yeah, and you see on the clear, they're pressuring Ben Abel. They think they can force an error out of that. They're willing to leave the upside wing open, and they're trying to pressure Abel. And I think that later on. I mean, he's a very athletic kid. Later on, that may pay dividends.
And Abel might be able to suck in a couple of defenders there and find some good outlet passes on the outside. And now Highland Park working in X. They'll come to the near side with number 19, Duncan Zilke, on the attack. Go back up top as the shot clock halfway done, 40 seconds remaining. in this offensive possession for Highland Park. Coming out of X, number 8, Parker Addison, into the middle. And the ball dispossessed there from the cross of Harris Sands and scooped up by the goalkeeper, Andrew Cook. He pulls that into the crease, Jim, so he has sole possession, and he'll outlet to the Falcons as they go back on the job.
Yeah, and that's twice now that just step out from the front side of the crease has been closed down by the slide late from Torrey Pines. That's twice that's happened, but they obviously see something that there's an opportunity, and they may go back to that later.
And now coming all the way back up top, Jacob Mendez wearing number 1 for the Falcons this evening. Back up top now, not working an X on this possession. Taking more of a midfield position as he'll work on the far side. Charging in, looking for a shot. A quick shot by Duncan, deflected. And that's taken back outside. So good work there by the Highland Park defense to stymie the pass across the mouth of the goal to Duncan. As number 12, John Pryor, will work on the near side.
And these poles are giving these attackmen some noise. I mean, if you're going to be on the ball, you're going to have a hat on you. And Highland Park is really forcing the issue. They're going to get aggressive after ground balls, and they're going to force stuff.
A low shot saved Ben Abel. And he picked that shot out of traffic, Jim, as the shot taken on the far side from Chase O'Connell right into the net of Ben Abel. And now Highland Park quickly back on the job as we approach 2 minutes remaining here in our first quarter tonight at Highlander Stadium.
Yeah, that aggressive clear down to Wheeler, and he kind of kicked her around a little bit and righted the ship, and now Highland Park has it settled. They can get their adjustment in and get the plan scheme that they want as far as players.
And Highland Park now getting the offensive specialists on the field that they want, working with the ball moving into X. That's number 27, Colin Hale. Everybody else up front now with 1:45 to play in the first. Hale comes around. Shot. Goal, Highland Park. What a pass right there by Colin Hale to find the cross of Duncan Zilke on the doorstep. Zilke goes across the net far side. He'll tie the match at 2.
And Brian, that's what we were talking about earlier. They got to open up that middle, and those opportunities will happen. And I didn't think they'd go right back to it on the last series. I kind of thought they would attack a little quicker, but that's an obviously set up for them to come in, and Zilke was just on point to put that thing in the back of the net.
Yeah, to borrow a hockey analogy, a nice one-timer there from Zilke. That ball did not sit in his cross very long at all, but an outstanding pass from Colin Hale to thread that from the far side through 3 defenders and right onto the cross of Zilke for the score.
Yeah, I mean, you can run the lane or you can pass it, and you know that the passes are generally a little bit more effective. But you're getting your head spinning with these. You have these poles down on Torrey Pines. Their heads are kind of spinning now, and they have to look behind them, and they have to adjust as well.
And now Highland Park winning the faceoff, another faceoff win for Frank Musa. And working in X, that's once again number 23, Jack McCallum. He'll come out to the far side. Back up top to Harris Sands. Sands working up top with Colin Hale. A shot by Hale off the side of the net. That looked like it almost went in, but it went just behind the sidebar and into the netting, picked up by Andrew Cook, the goalkeeper for Torrey Pines. And the Falcons now go back to work as we have 1 minute remaining in our first quarter here at Highlander Stadium. They work quickly, a shot and a goal for Torrey Pines. That's coast to coast right there for the Falcons. And with the shot and the goal, I believe that's number 17 for the Falcons, and it is Matthew Manarino with his first goal of the night for Torrey Pines.
Yeah, Torrey Pines is countering the tight defense from Highland Park with a quick transition game. You can see on the far side that Torrey Pines picks up the ground ball, runs in. It was almost a behind the back or not even look pass to that offensive attackman who just went right to the back of the net and just very attacking.
Indeed, and Manarino taking that ball in almost from midfield for the score. Now 3-2, the advantage for Torrey Pines. Our first penalty flag of the evening makes its appearance. And this will be coming up, a penalty against Highland Park, as the officials allow Torrey Pines to remain on the job and play the advantage here with 30 seconds to play in our first quarter.
Yeah, they're going to get Frank Musa, I think, for a cross check.
Yeah, I'll do score and we'll take us to break. Back up top. Torrey Pines working number 17, the latest goal scorer, Matthew Manarino, coming down the near side. 13 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. And, Jim, it looks like they're trying to set up a final shot here within the last 3 seconds of the quarter.
Yeah, I mean, they got to pop them in when they can.
And there it is, another goal for Torrey Pines. That's the second goal of the evening for number 1, Jacob Mendez. And he took that shot with just under 3 seconds remaining. It goes in the net with 1.6 to play in quarter number 1. And your score now here at Highlander Stadium, Torrey Pines Falcons 4, Highland Park Scots 2.
Yeah, and, Highland Park definitely needs to stop this run. And we're all, Highland Park's obviously going in man down, so they got to answer to that. But you don't want to let these guys get running on you because it's going to be difficult to catch up with them.
And now Frank Musa sitting in the sin bin for the next 60 seconds. As coming on to take the faceoff, that's Bennett Moss, number 14 for Highland Park. And he'll work against the faceoff specialist for Torrey Pines, number 40, Chandler Castor. And not much happening there as the horn sounds, ending our first quarter of play. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the first 12 minutes in the books this evening here at Highlander Stadium as Game On Sports Network brings you live exclusive coverage of tonight's Interstate Men's High School Hockey match. And your score as we head to the second quarter here in Highland Park, Texas. It's Torrey Pines Falcons 4. Your Highland Park Scots 2 will be back with the second quarter right after this short break on Game On Sports Network.
I actually look forward to car shopping with Sewell because I know that the whole process is going to be seamless, comfortable, and we're going to be taken care of. Buying a car is a big life event. I just felt very relaxed through the whole process. They put us at ease. There wasn't any pressure. It really felt like we were sitting at home trying to buy a car, especially with the cookies. I drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Cadillac.
I put a lot of mileage on my car. So I am practically at Sewell every 3 months. Every single time that I go, it's amazing. Everybody is welcoming, everybody is professional, everybody is kind. It's just like easy, fast, right to the point. You're in, you're out. Cannot imagine being with anybody else but Sewell. Their customer service is absolutely flawless. I drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and L-certified vehicles at our Dallas and Fort Worth Sewell Lexus locations.
And folks, welcome back here to Highlander Stadium in Highland Park, Texas. Brian Shackelford and Jim Dixon bringing you tonight's exclusive coverage of Interstate High School Lacrosse here from Highland Park. And the score here after one quarter of play, Jim, the Torrey Pines Falcons from San Diego lead Highland Park 4-2. And, is this a situation here from what we've seen in the last 3 minutes of quarter number 1? Is the Highland Park squad going to allow Torrey Pines to run on them like this? Or will the defense for Highland Park have an answer?
Oh, no, the Highland Park needs to bow their backs at every stretch of the game. But because you can't let Torrey Pines run on you. I mean, these guys, they'll hang double digits, and they have with several teams. Now, they all, of course, have 2 losses as well. But, you really have to be cognizant of stretches and be able to control and get that ball back in order to pursue your offensive means, and Highland Park definitely needs to be concerned with that.
And now Highland Park it's Torrey Pines possessing as the teams have now switched ends. Torrey Pines will be shooting at the goal to your right as you watch here tonight on your tablet, smartphone, or computing device. And Highland Park will be shooting to the goal to your left. So working here on the near side, number 12, John Pryor. They try a shot from distance and skips that right into the net. A skip shot there for number 23, Blake Washburn, from 13 yards out, and he's extended the Falcon lead. Torrey Pines 5, Highland Park 2.
Yeah, and Ben Abel, I mean, he just has to catch up to those, but those bounce shots are just lethal. They come in at your feet, and then all of a sudden you have to catch up to them, and it's very difficult. You have to be able to stop it out on the perimeter with the pole, and they got to put bodies on the ball. They got to put bodies and have that in check. In order to stop that and mitigate, Torrey Pines is going to get their shots. You want them to take poorly judged shots, and they have to force their hand on defense.
And Chandler Castor winning another faceoff. They'll take this all the way back to their goalie, Andrew Cook, and reset the offense as we're still inside the opening minute of our second quarter with the San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons leading your Highland Park Scots 5-2. And now finally bringing the ball across the timeline, 60 remaining on the shot clock for Torrey Pines following the latest goal by Washburn.
And there's a flag, so Highland Park will be assessed here as soon as we stop play.
And Washburn takes another shot going right across the mouth of the goal. And the ball out of bounds, and now we'll get the penalty call that appears to go against Highland Park here with 10:41 remaining before halftime. And now, Jim, with Highland Park down 3 goals here in the early stages of quarter number 2, and they're about to go man down, this is a critical penalty kill coming up here for the Scots.
Oh yeah, they certainly need to put some pressure on the ball. And like we were talking when we came out of break, you just can't let Torrey Pines get running on you. And there's no lead safe in Lacrosse, and we saw that down in Houston with Highland Park coming back in the fourth a couple of times, and just playing poorly in the third period and causing that. But they came back. Hats off to them. But you don't want to put yourself in that situation with these guys.
And now Highland Park man down for the next 30 seconds as James Duncan still takes a shot, and there's another flag coming in. And it appears now, Jim, that Highland Park may go 2 men down here in the second period. We already have number 13, Alexander Shadle, sitting in the penalty box. And now he'll be joined by his teammate, Longstick Mitty, in the penalty box as well. So now Highland Park down 2 men with 10:26 remaining here in the first half.
Yeah, and Ben Abel, he's out talking to his defensemen. He's talking to these poles and saying, hey, guys, let's get this thing righted. Let's put pressure on the ball. Don't do anything egregious. Just play lacrosse. And they know how to do that. You play defense with your feet. You cannot just pummel these guys.
And now back in play as the penalty assessed against Donovan Riley. And now this is a 2-man advantage for Torrey Pines for the next 40 seconds. A shot in the middle and a goal. Jumping right in there, uncontested, number 12, John Pryor. And he puts his first tally on the board this evening and will extend the Falcon lead. Now Torrey Pines 6, Highland Park 2.
Yeah, and from the look of Ben Abel's body language on that shot, that was just kind of a look away fake, and just really forced their hand. But he took Ben Abel down low and went right over the top of his head on the top part of the goal. And that's one of the benefits you have being 2 men up.
And now that will erase 1 penalty, and Frank Musa will come out now for another face-off with Chandler Castor. But the Highland Park Scots still 1 man down for the next 30 seconds or so as Musa tries to win this faceoff. It's scooped up in the air. Ground ball for Nathan Harper. And Harper taken down, and the Highland Park faithful furious there's no penalty call there, Jim.
Yeah, and look, I'm not on the field, but it looked like there was definitely a push in the back, but apparently he had a stick out in front of him, and the official was right there to look it off. So I'm up here and they're down there.
And we'll continue now. Highland Park does gain possession, and a foul call to give Highland Park possession. No penalty. So Highland Park now trying to rag out, being shorthanded here with 9.5 minutes remaining in the first half. The penalty now close to expiring. As working down in the corner, they'll go back up top with number 21, Paxton Smith. The penalty now expired against Donovan Riley, and the Highland Park Scots back at full strength, but they now trail by 4 goals. And it looks like we'll have timeout on the field. Timeout taken by Highland Park with 9:14 remaining in our first half. We'll step aside with them. We'll be back in just a moment right here on Game On Sports Network.
Sit down, have a cup of cappuccino, a cookie, read a book. When the car is ready, they come get me. It's a great way to start a Saturday.
Discover our wide variety of new and L-certified vehicles at our Dallas and Fort Worth Sewell Lexus location.
Time to make your move, Scots, and we know you will, because tradition never graduates. Vista Bank, entrepreneurs banking entrepreneurs since 1912.
Yeah, folks, welcome back here to Highlander Stadium. Brian Shackelford alongside Jim Dixon. And Jim, the Highland Park coaching staff has taken time out here with 9:14 remaining in the first half. It's one of their 2 timeouts they get in the game. And now get inside the mindset here of the Highland Park coaches. What are you telling your team here with just over 9 minutes to play before halftime, and you're down by 4 goals?
Well, you got to settle their nerves, and you don't. What you don't want is a team out there running your offense and everybody's timid to shoot. You want to have a team that's loose. You want to get these guys on the same page. They got a game plan. They've been effective for. I mean, they had 2 goals, albeit both were quick, but they have sustained possessions, and they got to go back to the basics and get these. Get the thing righted. Pump a couple of balls in the goal, and everything's fine again.
Indeed, and now Highland Park back on the job as the ground ball scooped up by number 20, Harris Sands. And the Scots with their perfect 6-0 undefeated record on this season on the line as the clock moves under 9 minutes remaining in the second. Shot, and is that in? No, that's off the side of the net. It did billow the net, but it was on the side of the net. A nice shot there by Quinn Gordon, but just wide and scooped up by Andrew Cook. And now Torrey Pines quickly back on the job with 8:40 to play in the second.
Yeah, I mean, Torrey Pines will roll out with some just very, very quick, athletic attackmen or midfielders, and very elusive, and they're breaking that press, so to speak, that Highland Park is putting on them to make them get the clear, and they're very effective at getting the thing down to the offensive zone.
And now Torrey Pines with just over 40 remaining on the shot clock. Mendez winding up again. He'll take another shot. And did that go in? They'll check. Yes, it did. Mendez goes top shelf over the left shoulder of Ben Abel. And he puts up the first hat trick of the evening. The 3rd goal for Jacob Mendez. And he will extend the Torrey Pines Falcon lead now 7-2 over Highland Park with 8:12 to play before halftime.
Yeah, Mendez's shot, he crow hopped in, got his defenseman to commit, cleared out, and he worked himself down. Ben Abel did a great job of resetting his feet and coming down into the pipe side of the crease, or pipe side of the goal. But Mendez had just a little, just something wider than a ball to shoot into, popped it in the back.
And now another shot, this one by Castor off the faceoff. Saved by Ben Abel. And now the long stick midi, Nathan Harper for the Scots will move the ball forward. Highland Park now racing downfield, number 26, Frank Musa. He'll take a shot, save Andrew Cook for Torrey Pines. And it's always strange how on these deflective shots, it seems to be the long stick midi that scoops up the ball.
Well, and these poles are back there for a reason, and they have leverage and benefit, and
now we have another penalty flag on the field. And we'll check that call. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, the poles are back there. They have leverage on everything. They can reach in. They can leverage out that pole. They have a lot of advantages, and what they make up on being able to get ground balls, they lose on control. They have a little bit of benefit on the offensive zone. So those poles, as they push down into the offensive zone, it changes the line of sight for your goalie, and you guys have to really, I mean, the defense really has to be cognizant of that and shut those attacks down from the an unlikely source.
And Alexander Shadle, the Highland Park Scot, in the sin bin for 1 minute. As another quick goal there for Torrey Pines. And Shadle committing the 4th penalty of the evening for Highland Park. Torrey Pines yet to commit a penalty. And that goal, the 2nd goal of the night for the Falcon midfielder Blake Washburn. It's now 8-2 in favor of Torrey Pines. Jim, they have the penalty call, and they score a goal within 12 seconds of putting the ball back into play.
Yeah, I mean, and they have excellent ball control. They work the ball on the perimeter. They find the matchup that they want, and they exploit it. And Highland Park has to do exactly what they're doing right now, which is Musa picking up and winning the face-off, going down and dishing, and again Parker Addison on the perimeter into a narrow hole, and Addison took a shot earlier, and you gotta like these guys being confident enough. They had a shot for a save, they converted. Okay, keep shooting, and they need to have that confidence, and Highland Park obviously has it. And with a guy like Musa on point at the X, you're going to win your fair share.
And Musa winning that faceoff. Parker Addison scoring his first goal of the night and cutting the deficit back to 5 goals, 8-3 now in favor of Torrey Pines. A shot on goal there, saved by Andrew Cook for the Falcons. And just as Torrey Pines scored on the penalty, Highland Park able to answer within 10 seconds to keep it at a 5-goal lead for Torrey Pines. And this comes down to what I've seen here so far early in this match, Jim. It's coming down to face-off wins, where if Castor is winning the face-off for Torrey Pines, it's giving them a much bigger advantage. And just like you had mentioned there, Musa won that last face-off very clean and took it right down, a quick dish to Parker Addison, and he scores a goal in 12 seconds.
Yeah, and Musa does a great job about adjusting. You're going to get under his skin a couple of times. He's going to adjust to you. Sometimes you have to pull out a face-off guy to get the chemistry mixed up. But Frank does a great job about adjusting on the fly, adjusting what they're throwing at him. And the quick distribution, you got to like the attacking zone.
And now working on the near side, Wesley Iverson. Another ground ball. Iverson will pick that up again. Or pardon me, no, make that number 12, Quinn Gordon. Gordon looking for a shot. He'll take it off the crossbar. And now the rebound and the goal for Highland Park. Great vision right there by number 19, Duncan Zilke, as he's able to scoop up the bounce off the crossbar and put it in the net for a Highland Park goal.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the first shot was in, but that thing rocked the net and just pushed the net back. And Zilke was handy on the spot. And Highland Park's digging out of this hole. And you got to like the aggressive play, and the fact that they are not afraid to attack the goal. And I think they're finding something that they like right now, and that may be fast break.
And they are working the fast break opportunity here as Musa looks to win another faceoff. And Highland Park will control, give the faceoff win to Nathan Harper, as now Harper will head down the far side. And knocked down there by Torrey Pines, a legal play. And now the Falcons will control behind the net with their goalkeeper, Andrew Cook. He'll outlet on the near side to number 2, Laird Tassara. Another ground ball loose here. And Highland Park definitely will not go gently into the good night. They're not going to get down by 6 goals and just lay down and quit, Jim. As you can see here, they've scored the last 2 to bring this back from an 8-2 deficit to now 8-4 with just over 5 minutes remaining before halftime.
No, these kids have been saddled up, since they were little bitty. They've seen double-digit deficit goal, double-digit losses, and playing from behind, and they're not. This is something that they are ingrained in. Is just keep attacking, keep rolling. Good things will happen.
And so far, good things happening now as they look to defend here on the near side. John Pryor working on Nathan Harper. He'll go across the formation to Mendez. Mendez with the lone hat trick so far this evening. He'll fake a shot, go back into X with number 44, James Duncan. And now a loose ball scooped up by Highland Park. The defense creating offensive opportunities as Alexander Shadle will now offload, and Highland Park on the job with 4:20 to play before halftime and the opportunity to cut this down to a 3-goal lead.
Yeah, and Halo was handy on the spot. He got clear from his man, backed up, and then that allowed Highland Park. That kept the Scots in the game on the possession. Now they're set up. They're gonna work to the edge, and they're gonna see what they can exploit through the backside.
Brian Rapp, the midfielder, working on the near side, being marked there by John Pryor. He'll take the ball all the way into X as the clock moves under 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Coming out of X on the far side, Parker Addison, shot, goal! What a pass by Addison. Over his shoulder, finding Cameron Riley diving toward the net. And it's 3 goals in a row now here for Highland Park. They've cut the lead to 8-5.
Yeah, and Addison was masterful on the far side. He had the ball. He knew he had a man on. He felt the slide come out. He knew he drew the double. He knew that opened up the inside. He popped it back in, and and Highland Park just unloads it, brings this thing back 5-8. And in Highland Park, I mean, the Scots are not going away, as you said.
No, they will not just lay down and die, folks. You're going to see some exciting lacrosse here. A bounce shot by Musa directly off the face-off win. And Highland Park will keep the ball inbounds. No, they now whistle it out of bounds. And I'm not sure. I believe we have a timeout.
Yeah, Coach Pressler felt the pressure, thought he invested in a timeout, called it. Highland Park's going to hold on to possession down there in the X behind goal.
And indeed, we do have timeout on the field. We'll step aside briefly. 3:35 remains in our first half. Torrey Pines Falcons 8, Highland Park Scots 5. Back right after this on Game On Sports Network.
I'll sit down, have a cup of cappuccino, a cookie, read a book. When the car is ready, they come get me. It's a great way to start a Saturday.
Discover our wide variety of new and L-certified vehicles at our Dallas and Fort Worth Sewell Lexus locations.
I put a lot of mileage on my car. So I am practically at Sewell every 3 months. Every single time that I go, it's amazing. Everybody is welcoming, everybody is professional, everybody is kind. It's just like easy, fast, right to the point. You're in, you're out. Cannot imagine being with anybody else but Sewell. Their customer service is absolutely flawless. I drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and L-certified vehicles at our Dallas and Fort Worth Sewell Lexus locations.
And folks, welcome back here to Highlander Stadium on the campus of Highland Park High School, just north of downtown Dallas, Texas. Alongside Jim Dixon, this is Brian Shackelford bringing you tonight's intrastate lacrosse action between your Highland Park Scots and the San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons. And folks, if you didn't think that high school lacrosse was a big deal here at Highland Park High School, all you need to do is just take a look down here below us to our right at the student section. They have about 200 Highland Park faithful here tonight rooting on their team, and it's not the only thing happening here tonight at Highland Park. We've got softball going over on the softball field. We've got baseball right behind us, so multiple sports in action here tonight at Highland Park High School, and yet still a big contingent of the student body out here to root on the lacrosse team.
Oh, no, you can pick your poison here at Highland Park this weekend.
And now Highland Park bringing the ball back in after the timeout as Parker Addison looking up top. A shot from distance and a bounce save there. It bounced out of the large net of Andrew Cook. He is able to recover and moves the ball forward for Torrey Pines.
Yeah, Cook does a great job of receiving these shots and good body control and good possession. While he's in the pipes, and he's a hard one to beat.
And now James Duncan, wearing number 44, working in X, alongside number 23, Blake Washburn. Both of those gentlemen have scored goals here this evening for Torrey Pines, as the Falcons down to 45 ticks on the shot clock. 2.5 remaining in the second quarter here at Highlander Stadium. Washburn will now come up top, working alongside John Pryor. And the ride here from Highland Park, a shot from distance, and that's all they needed right there. It looked like the ride was effective, but one shoulder fake and a brief opening right there, and Torrey Pines able to put the ball top shelf in the net and extend the lead.
And again, it's obviously swap fields, but again, it's that same angle that they're trying to take advantage of, and they're going on the far side of Abel and working him away from his dominant side and making him catch up.
And we'll go back to the center circle as number 40 for the Falcons, Chandler Castor, and number 26, Frank Musa for Highland Park will scrum. Musa winning the faceoff, as it's now Torrey Pines 9, Highland Park 5, with just over 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Musa being absolutely manhandled on the far sideline. He'll get rid of the ball to Colin Hale. Hale now working up top with Parker Addison as we have less than 2 minutes remaining in the first half here at Highlander Stadium. Addison being marked on the near side by number 2, Laird Tassara. And Addison definitely getting his steps in with the shot clock now down to 50. They'll move to a charging Jack McCallum. Shot from distance by Colin Hale and a save by Andrew Cook. But Highland Park back to grab the ball, and they'll bring it in across the end line. 95 seconds remain in the half. Addison bringing the ball back into play. Make that number 6, Brian Rapp bringing the ball into Addison. And another shot by Parker Addison goes wide. 65 on the shot clock, 85 ticks to play in the half.
Yeah, and Addison did a great job on the roll dodge, rolled into his left, and just kind of shot a little bit wide because his hips spun a little bit wide, but he definitely had an open lane.
And a pass right there to a wide open Jack McCallum. He missed the shot. Addison will shoot, and he 5-holes the goalie for the score. Addison fakes up top, goes 5-hole on Andrew Cook. His second goal of the night. It's now Falcons 9, Highland Park Scots 6.
Yeah, and if you could say Cook had one mistake tonight, that was it. He got his eyes taken up high, and then Addison worked him down low, rather than just you at that point you want to make a choice. You want to come out and address the shot, or you want to stand your ground, but you don't want to take the first fake.
And he was faked out of his shorts right there by Parker Addison and paid the price. As now Highland Park has scored 4 of the last 5 goals in this match. A face-off foul against Chandler Castor will give Frank Musa and the Highland Park Scots possession. The shot clock no longer a factor, as folks, we have 1 minute remaining in the first half here at Highlander Stadium. And Jim, now with 60 seconds to play in this game, or in the first half rather, is this a situation down by 3 goals where you're content, if you're Mike Pressler's squad, to play for the final shot and take a 2-goal deficit into halftime?
Well, I mean, you definitely want to pump one in. You don't need the thing rolling around like it is. Now they're going to reset, but you definitely want to at the very least, get out of this with 1 goal.
And picked up on the far side, the ground ball by number 15, Captain Wesley Iverson. 27 seconds to play in the half. Iverson backs off his defender looking for a shot. And that lost out of bounds will be brought back in by Highland Park with 20.6 remaining in the half. They'll come to Parker Addison on the near side. Addison charging toward the goal, trying to get around to Sara. Addison shoots and scores! What an amazing individual effort there by Parker Addison. And folks, if you think this young man is a seasoned veteran, he's a sophomore. He's putting moves like that on the goalkeeper. 9-7 now the score here at Highlander Stadium.
And they got a handful of sophomores down here on the Highland Park sideline, and these kids are really, really good. Addison's great. He took his man down, thought he was going to roll through X, got through goal line extended, got ahead of him, came back behind him. At that point, the goalie had to recommit. Cook had to resettle, and he just went right under him. And, content at least with the one success, and you obviously want to pump one more in.
And now 10 seconds, 8 remaining in the half. They try to get off one more shot, and the ball goes out of bounds with 3.3 remaining. The ball deep in Torrey Pines end.
Yeah, just a little rush on the possession, and you would have had the ball with about 3.5 seconds left, but that was something that you could have maybe worked with a little bit. But you're definitely walking out of here with down 2, and you were down 3 with just a couple of minutes ago. So Coach Pressler is going to sit down and reinforce to these guys, hey, we're still in this. We just keep playing our game, just keep pressing.
And folks, we'll take a quick break and come back with some halftime analysis. Your score as the horn sounds, bringing us to halftime here at Highlander Stadium. It's Torrey Pines Falcons 9, your Highland Park Scots 7. We'll be back after this break. You're watching live Highland Park Lacrosse on Game On Sports.
You've never been one to fear the unknown. That's because you've seen seasons like this come and go, just like many of your competitors. You know your outcome. Stay focused and take calculated risks, seizing opportunities when others freeze. The truth is, winter business cycles separate the good from the great, and winter is your season. Ours too. That's why for over a century, we've been honored to serve you. Vista Bank, entrepreneurs banking entrepreneurs since 1912.
Sewell is definitely a part of my family. Everyone, just has this great smile that we are happy to see you. We're so glad you're here. They really care about people. And that's not something you find at every dealership. I love to leave a dealership feeling peaceful, and I've never experienced that until Sewell. I drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Buick GMC.
I actually look forward to car shopping with Sewell because I know that the whole process is going to be seamless, comfortable, and we're going to be taken care of. Buying a car is a big life event. I just felt very relaxed through the whole process. They put us at ease. There wasn't any pressure. It really felt like we were sitting at home trying to buy a car, especially with the cookies. I drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Cadillac.
And folks, we welcome you back here to halftime at Highlander Stadium. Brian Shackelford with you alongside Jim Dixon, bringing you live exclusive coverage of tonight's interstate men's lacrosse match here in the high school ranks between the San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons and your Highland Park Scots. And Jim, with about 8 minutes to play, well, it's about 6 minutes, about halfway through that second period, that second quarter, the Falcons had scored and made this an 8-2 game as they had scored off of the penalty. And in that last 6 minutes of the first half, the Scots have come roaring back. They've outscored the Falcons 5-1 in the last 6 minutes of that second half. And they take what I think now is a very manageable 2-goal deficit here to the halftime break.
Yeah, and they're certainly finding something that they like in the Scots. They're finding something on what's the near side. And they're able to take advantage of that, and they're just busting Parker Addison loose. And that kid's just having a heck of a day. And I think Torrey Pines is going to come out and try to address that, and then they're going to see what they can adjust to.
And Parker Addison with a hat trick already in this first half to match the hat trick for number 1 Jacob Mendez of the Falcons. You have 4 different goal scorers here for Highland Park. Addison leads the scores with the hat trick. Duncan Zilke with 2 goals and individual goals for Quinn Gordon. Alongside Cameron Riley now for Torrey Pines, 5 different goal scorers. Jacob Mendez with 2. Matthew Manorino with 2. Blake Washburn with 2. And single goals for James Duncan and John Pryor. And that's where we are right now. 9-7 is the score here at the halftime break. And folks, we're going to step aside again for our highlight halftime package, and we'll be back with more halftime analysis here on Game On Sports.
I'll sit down, have a cup of cappuccino, a cookie, read a book. When the car is ready, they come get me. It's a great way to start a Saturday.
Discover our wide variety of new and L-certified vehicles at our Dallas and Fort Worth Sewell Lexus locations.
I love the idea that when you pull into the service garage, your name comes up on the screen. I will always drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at our Dallas and Fort Worth Sewell Infinity locations.
Time to make your move, Scots, and we know you will, because tradition never graduates. Vista Bank, entrepreneurs banking entrepreneurs since 1912.
All right, we're back here at Highland Park Stadium along with Brian Shackelford. I'm Jim Dixon. Brian is trying to induce some official names and get some feedback and so forth. So I'm just going to sit here and talk about the first half with you. But this has been a fantastic game. It's everything I thought it was going to be. When they put this thing on the books early in the season, I was kind of rubbing my hands together and waiting on this thing because you got to like when Torrey Pines comes in with what they bring with them. As far as a history and a background, and the fact that they're willing to come in here and poke the bear of two Texas lacrosse mainstays is fantastic, and you got to really appreciate that because really, I mean, these, it's regional. Torrey Pines is out there operating in California, and there's a couple of programs between here and there in the Phoenix area and so forth. But for the most part, they're on an island. And then we sit here in Texas and when you set foot in El Paso, you're closer to Los Angeles than you are to Houston. And, it's a big space to be in. And Brian's back here in the booth. And did you get the information you were looking for, Brian?
I did indeed. And as we analyze the first half here, and it mentioned earlier, the Scots come roaring back in the final half of that second quarter, outscoring Torrey Pines 6-1. They still trail here as we're ready to begin the third quarter of play with just over 2 minutes remaining in halftime. But it's now a much more manageable 9-7 lead. And as you had mentioned, Jim, this is a good opportunity here with Torrey Pines coming to Texas and taking on, two of arguably the best high school varsity lacrosse teams that Texas has to offer in Highland Park and Jesuit this weekend. It's going to give Coach Jono Zizzi and his squad a true test as they head back to California and look to defend for another year their championship in the California Interscholastic Federation. And that's the one thing that I find interesting, Jim, is that in California, it's part, the lacrosse is part of their high school program. California Interscholastic Federation, very much akin to what we have here in Texas in the University Interscholastic League. It's the governing body for high school sports in California. But here in Texas, we still play lacrosse as a club sport, although the Texas High School Lacrosse League does an outstanding job of organizing this. But I wondered coming into this game that with California lacrosse being a high school sponsored sport, if it would make any difference. And so far, we really haven't seen much of a difference in the first half.
No, and you also have level of play, level of opponent. I can look down Torrey Pines' schedule and their record and go, okay, well, that's impressive. I mean, to be, I know a little bit about lacrosse, but I couldn't tell you if those were quality wins or not. But from what I've seen of level of play from Torrey Pines, they are everything that they are advertised as, and they do deserve the accolades and the prominence and the attention that they get on the NCAA and NAIA level with the level of kids that they're producing. And Highland Highland Park obviously has their own, their own level of kids that they're producing. So nobody's better or overstepping one another, but Torrey Pines is everything they're advertised as, and Highland Park. We need to see what they're going to do in a couple of games. The third period has kind of derailed them, and that's the only kind of flaw in their game that we've seen thus far this season. But they came back and righted the ship. So, hey, take the third period off and rest maybe.
Well, we'll see what happens here as both teams back out on the field. And, folks, while we have a moment, we'd like to introduce the officiating crew here for tonight's game at Highlander Stadium. Your referee this evening, Mr. Edward Carr. Your umpire tonight, Mr. L.J. Johnston, and your field judge is Jason Gustin. And as you were mentioning earlier, the coach for Torrey Pines, Coach Jono Zisi, entering his 13th season at the helm of Torrey Pines with a record of 194 wins against 51 losses. So this has been a very successful program in his 13-year tenure down in the San Diego area.
No, it's a quality program, and they are disciplined, and they don't make mistakes, and they're an outstanding ball club.
And now Highland Park looking to put another goal on the board as Frank Musa winning the opening faceoff for the Scots. We're 30 seconds deep into the third quarter, and folks, we want to thank you for joining us here this evening on Game On Sports for this exclusive coverage of high school lacrosse between your Highland Park Scots and the San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons. We thank you for watching wherever you might be across the state, around the country, or throughout the world on your tablet, smartphone, or computing device as you're tuned in here to us tonight on Game On Sports. The shot clock down to 30 seconds for Highland Park.
And Iverson worked well on that last rotation. Worked in through X on through the outside. Highland Park kind of put it on the ground and had to rework. That has been the Achilles heel thus far, is these turnovers, and they're winning about half these ground balls. But if you put it on the turf, it's a 50-50 ball. So you definitely need to be cognizant of that and take care of the ball.
And a pair of dispossessions there, one by Torrey Pines, another by Highland Park. But then the third belonging to the Falcons is number 33, Joey Levenberg, able to secure possession for Torrey Pines, and they go back on the job. With 10:22 remaining here in our third quarter, no score yet. In this third period, it remains Torrey Pines 9, Highland Park 7. Jacob Mendez with a hat trick on the evening, working on the far side. Being marked there by number 2, Benton Owens. And now the ball back in X with number 23, Washburn. He loses his cross, and turnover to Highland Park, and quickly here come the Scots. And it looked like they were going to try and play the advantage, but instead Paxton Smith will pull up and wait for his offensive specialist to get on the turf.
Just a lethal check by the Highland Park defense back there playing tight and forcing this turnover. And you just love to see that coming out of half. These guys got their eyes on what they're doing.
And this is something that I think we've seen, Jim, that we don't normally see in the Texas High School Lacrosse League, is the level of checking ability from this California squad that we've seen here tonight. There have been very aggressive checks, trying to knock the ball out of the cross. A shot there from the near side by Duncan Zilke, scooped up by Andrew Cook. A nice effort, but unable to get the ball by Cook. But the checking level and the level of aggression here by Torrey Pines definitely giving the Scots something to think about as we move into the second half.
Well, and that and ability with speed. I mean, these guys are going at full bore, and they're pulling in ground balls. They're catching on the fly, and just very athletic play and from both squads.
And Torrey Pines dressing 37 men for tonight's game, and Highland Park with their standard roster of 27. So we'll see if tired legs and attrition become a factor as we head into the end stages of this game. We're down under 50 on the shot clock. An interception there, a bad pass by Wesley Iverson, and it's scooped up by Torrey Pines. They'll move the ball forward quickly. And now working in X behind the goal, that's Jacob Washburn again, working with James Duncan. And once again, Jim, they go back to that offensive pattern where they work with 2 men in X and force Highland Park to put more men behind the net than they would like.
Yeah, and Thomas Finn on that interception, that kid has played great in the midfield and transition, he's out front. He's very active on defense, very active with the ball, and does a great job as far as converting. And that kid's very well coached.
And a scramble for the ball on the far sideline as it goes out of bounds. Possession awarded to the Torrey Pines Falcons. And an interesting turn of events here, Jim, as this has been a very fast-paced game. We had 16 goals scored in the first 24 minutes. And here we are now over 4 minutes into this third quarter, and no one has scored yet for either team.
Yeah, and I think I think that speaks more to what Highland Park is doing coming out of the game, or coming out of halftime.
And Ben Abel way out of his goal, and what a play there as he scoops the ball up, bounces it off the helmet of number 41 Ross Jacobson out of bounds to give Highland Park possession with 7:20 to play in the third.
Yeah, Ben Abel's very active on the defense. He's not a minder that just stands in the crease. He gets out. He talks. He communicates well. He's had a bunch of he's strung together some really good games.
And that shot, that pass gets through to Highland Park Scotsman and scooped up on the far side by Brian Rapp. The Falcons try to force Rapp out of bounds, and his strength from his legs keeps him inbounds, as now he and Parker Addison will play the two-man game on the near side. Shot clock down to 35 for Highland Park with 6:40 remaining in quarter number 3.
Yeah, Rapp is a strong kid. He went down the sideline, took a couple of checks, and was able to still bring the ball in through X and maintain possession.
And charging in there to take a shot, Paxton Smith is dispossessed of his cross. And they do call a foul. Now the officials will meet to discuss the call. No penalty flag is flown, but they have blown the whistle. So you would think at the very least Highland Park gets possession. No, they award possession to Torrey Pines.
Yeah, and Torrey Pines, they kind of knew the possession call was going to go their way. They're set up, to bring this thing up in a 4-man clear, and Highland Park is countering. You see the defenseman there at midfield shutting off lanes and applying pressure. They're gonna try and make them work this thing upfield and try and turn it over on time.
And now number 25 Benjamin Trask barely gets the ball across the timeline and out of his goal. Ben Abel, and he paid the price as Torrey Pines scores the first goal of this third quarter. And putting the ball in the net for the Falcons. That is number 1, Jacob Mendez, his 4th goal of the night.
Yeah, and Abel in this clear, or in this pressure defense that Highland Park is applying, Abel is down on his end, marking a man, and you hope to not get him as wide where he can't recover, and he just couldn't get back quick enough. They found a lane and took a lengthy shot, and made him pay the price.
And now quickly, Chandler Castor wins the faceoff, and Torrey Pines already back on the job as number 5 will control. That's S.J. Dornwind controlling possession for Torrey Pines. And we're starting to see some new numbers and fresh bodies here on the turf in this third period as the Torrey Pines Falcons look to use their manpower advantage against Highland Park. A shot and another goal for Torrey Pines. That goal from distance. And putting his name in the book for the first time tonight, that's number 41, Ross Jacobson.
Yeah, Jacobson got that ball in from the perimeter and went low to high on it. Abel wasn't able to catch up to it. He was out a little bit from the box and just unable to catch up to it. Went over his top shoulder, and the defense really needs to tighten up on these slides and get bodies on people when they're in these shooting lanes. And it's not adjusting as fast as it needs to.
And the score now with 5:20 remaining in the third quarter here at Highlander Stadium. It's Torrey Pines Falcons 11 and your Highland Park Scots 7. The Scots yet to score here in the second half. 2 unanswered goals in the third quarter by Torrey Pines. And they're now back on the job as we approach the 5-minute mark remaining in quarter number 3. They'll work on the far side with number 17, Matthew Manarino. Coming back here near side, that's number 30, Ryland Roach. A shot by Roach wide of goal. And Torrey Pines will bring the ball back into play. Touched by the goalkeeper, Ben Abel. They get a fresh 80 on the shot clock.
Yeah, Roach set up high, just drew the double right as he was shooting, and he's going to try and set that up again. They have him kind of nested up on the top side. He's looking to work that lane over, and hope to get up clear in a shooting lane to drop that thing on Abel. And so far, Highland Park is adjusting well to it.
And John Pryor now with the ball as the Falcons work a clockwise rotation. Coming back from the far side, another shot deflected by Ben Abel. Out of bounds. Or no, Abel did not touch that one as the shot clock did not reset. 42 on the shot clock as the Falcons bring the ball back into play. And we hit the 4-minute mark remaining here in quarter number 3. Playing on the near side, that's number 30 for the Falcons, Ryland Roach. Roach taking a shot from distance, sailing it well over the top of the net. And almost onto the softball field across the street from Highlander Stadium.
Yeah, and again, Highland Park defensively is just answering. They're getting bodies on these shots where they're not getting free.
And Pryor working on the far side. They come back to Mendez on the near side in X. And he'll move to goal line extended as taking over for him in X is Blake Washburn. A shot from the near side by Ryland Roach out of bounds. And that will turn the ball over to Highland Park with 3:29 remaining in the third.
And that's a good, timely defensive stand that you want from Highland Park in this situation. You want Highland Park to be able to, exhibit their defense, shut down this offense, force them into extended possessions, and make them, seek an opportunity for a ground ball, for a turnover, for a possession change of some sort where you could push it down into the offensive zone. And again, Highland Park's defense answered the call in that situation on that last series.
And the shot clock down to 50 now for Highland Park as Quinn Gordon will work with the ball. 2:57 remains in the third. And Highland Park desperately looking to get back one of the 2 goals that they have allowed Torrey Pines to score here in the third period. I would think at this point, Jim, with less than 3 minutes to play in the third, as the ball comes loose, ground ball scooped up there by Paxton Smith. He'll shoot. They'll get it back to Addison. And another lost ground ball scooped up on the far sideline. The ball deftly. Oh, no, they call him out of bounds. I thought that Harris Sands let go of the ball, reestablished himself in bounds, and picked the ball back up, but the officials didn't see it that way.
I can't see it from up here at high atop Highland Park, Highlander Stadium, but it looked like what happened is what you said, but we're not on the field.
No, that happened about as far away from us as you could get. And now a fresh shot clock for Torrey Pines. It's already down under 60 as we hit 2 minutes remaining in our third quarter here at Highlander Stadium. Falcons 11, your Highland Park Scots 7. As the Falcons are on the job with 45 on the shot clock. They go back up top. Ryland Roach in the game now, working up top as one of the midfielders for Torrey Pines. Faking a shot from distance. They're looking short side for Mendez. Ben Abel right there to make the save. And now they'll come back up top to Matthew Manarino as that ball did hit Abel and the side post. They get a fresh 80 on the shot clock with 85 seconds to play in the third.
Yeah, and they're kind of letting the defense play out, and Abel is really kind of having a match with Mendez down there. But kind of the shot you're going to get. You're going to get something goal line extended, creeping around the edge, and Abel is certainly Ben is certainly able to get out there and smother those shots as he did on that one stop.
And now an interesting situation here is number 17, Matthew Manarino, standing all by his lonesome, 30 yards out from goal. The shot clock down to 35 as we move inside the final minute of the third quarter. And this is very much akin to a basketball game where they just play four corners and try to rag out the time. I guess they're going to work this down to about 15 seconds and take a shot.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of do have Harvard-y colors, or Princeton colors, so they will go in the four corners on you.
And a shot there, save able. 30 seconds to play in the third. Now as Highland Park will quickly go back on offense. Charging down the field, Hudson Jones wearing number 10. He'll come to the near side as the clock down to 18 ticks remaining in period number 3. They'll work in X with Harris Sands. To the far side, Parker Addison with 3 goals in the game, looking for number 4. 6 seconds. Addison trying to work inside. 3 seconds. Shot! Oh, it's just off the side of the net. Cook makes the save, and he'll throw it the length of the field to Ben Abel as the horn sounds, ending our third quarter of play. It looked like Addison had a goal there, but it was just in the side netting. And folks, your score, as we have 3 periods in the books here this evening at Highlander Stadium. It's Torrey Pines Falcons 11, your Highland Park Scots 7. We'll be back with the conclusion. A very exciting fourth quarter coming up. Stay with us right here on Game On Sports Network.
You've never been one to fear the unknown. That's because you've seen seasons like this come and go, just like many of your competitors. You know your outcome. Stay focused and take calculated risks, seizing opportunities when others freeze. The truth is, winter business cycles separate the good from the great, and winter is your season. Ours too. That's why for over a century, we've been honored to serve you. Vista Bank, entrepreneurs banking entrepreneurs since 1912.
Sewell is definitely.
And folks, we welcome you back here to Highlander Stadium on the campus of Highland Park High School, just north of downtown Dallas. Alongside Jim Dixon, this is Brian Shackelford, ready to bring you an exciting fourth quarter of intrastate high school lacrosse here this evening from Highland Park, as the San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons are in town to face off against your Highland Park Scots. The Falcons lead here as we are ready to begin quarter number 4 by a score of 11-7. And Jim, it's a 4-goal difference. It was a 2-goal difference at halftime. The only 2 goals scored in the third quarter were by Torrey Pines, but 4 goals, definitely not an insurmountable lead as Highland Park looks to charge back in this fourth quarter.
No, and they have it in them that there is no lead safe. I mean, particularly with this rolling in the fourth period. But Highland Park, I had the benefit of talking to Wesley Iverson after one of the games in Houston, and he explained to me the chemistry about how they go about it.
Musa with a shot save, Andrew Cook. The rebound, Addison with a shot, he scores! And that's the tenacity that Highland Park will need in this fourth quarter. As 2 shots on goal, Cook deflects the first shot by Musa, but the rebound fed to Parker Addison. That's his 4th goal on the night. It's now 11-8.
Yeah, and these guys, I mean, they feed off one another. In a short season, they have gotten their chemistry together where they can be very explosive, and hopefully that's what we're seeing the start of right here in the fourth.
And as you had mentioned earlier, Jim, Highland Park seeming to have issues sometimes in the third quarters of games. So really, with the third quarter, getting through the third quarter, and it only being a 2-goal disadvantage to Torrey Pines, they've worked that back now, getting one of those goals back probably not a bad third quarter as far as the Scott season has gone so far.
Hey, that was a quality third quarter. That was quality play. They didn't get over their skis. They didn't start pressing. They stuck to their game. They kind of let it happen. They got to the fourth quarter, and hopefully they can mash the accelerator here and get some space between them and Torrey Pines. What I'd like to see is what Torrey Pines does down a little bit. How they react to that.
And John Pryor now working on the near side against Alexander Shadle as Torrey Pines has their first offensive opportunity of quarter number 4. The shot clock halfway gone, down to 40. As a minute is gone in the fourth quarter, but Torrey Pines hanging on to a 3-goal lead. They seem content to work for just the right shot. As working on the far side, that's number 30, Rylan Roach, going back into X to number 23, Blake Washburn. Washburn will try to go back up top. Less than 20 now on the shot clock. John Pryor wearing number 12, guarded once again by Shadle here on the near side. As the shot clock down to 10, Pryor looking for a shot. He'll dish instead. Shot from distance wide. Well wide of goal, wide of Ben Abel. And with only 5 seconds left on the shot clock, Torrey Pines will bring the ball back in across the end line.
Yeah, and Ben Abel, again, executing good lacrosse IQ. He didn't press out to come get it. He knew it was across the goal face. Let it go. Let the clock take care of this possession.
And shot clock violation against Torrey Pines. That's the first shot clock violation of the entire evening against either team. And a defensive stop that Highland Park desperately needed as they trail by 3 goals with 10 minutes to play in the fourth. The loose ball scooped up on the far side by Henry Richter. And now coming across the timeline, number 6, Brian Rapp. Rapp working on the far side with Paxton Smith as Highland Park will now go on the job with 9:50 to play in regulation.
Yeah, Torrey Pines on this possession just showing great transition defense. I mean, they're out, they're pressing them. They're not going to get overrun on the offensive attack by Highland Park, and you know that is good discipline.
They try to feed Parker Addison up front. Addison down on the turf. His shot deflected over the top of the goal by Andrew Cook, but he inadvertently took a cross in the face from one of the defenders from Torrey Pines. Nothing deliberate, just a lot of action happening there in front of the cross.
Well, it's good enough to get a flag, and there's one down.
And, oh, they do get a flag on the far side. I do see that, and we have timeout on the field for injury as Parker Addison is being attended to 5 yards in front of the goal. Perhaps a cross-check or a slashing penalty. And coming up against Torrey Pines, if so, this will be the first penalty of the night against Torrey Pines, and it is with 9:28 remaining in the fourth quarter, as Highland Park will go on the job. And the penalty looks to be assessed against number 5, S.J. Dorenwind, one of the defenders, or rather a midfielder for Torrey Pines.
Yeah, I don't know how you assess it. There was just a bunch of bodies in there, and Parker Addison just got in the middle of it and drew the short straw. I think they got under his helmet, down in his clavicle, neck area, and shoulder.
And now a 1 minute man up advantage for Highland Park. Let's see if they can take advantage. As Paxton Smith will work up top. A shot. Cook, did he save that? Oh, it's a goal! Parker Addison, this young man has scored just about any way you could possibly think of tonight. He's 5-holed the goalie twice. That time, he gets just enough mustard on it. Andrew Cook blocked 85% of that shot, and it trickles right over the goal line for a score.
Yeah, Cook, I mean, he's been making saves like that, and it's one of those deals where if you're a goalie, you're going to get burned at some point playing with fire, because you're really kind of smothering the ball. You're not going to stop every one of them, and one of them is going to sneak through, and that just happened.
And buckle up, folks. Here we go. 9:13 to play in regulation, as the Scots now have trimmed the advantage to 2 goals. Torrey Pines 11. Your Highland Park Scots 9. Loose ground ball scooped up by Torrey Pines. And taking control will be number 3, Blake Washburn for the Falcons. He'll charge downfield, slide on the turf. Ball comes out, scooped up by Highland Park. The Scots have an opportunity. 21, Paxton Smith with the ball. And he's going to wait to get some help as they'll set up the offense here with just under 9 minutes remaining in the fourth.
Yeah, credit Ben Boyer on that. He was on the ride all the way. He never pressed. He kept pursuit. He didn't rush. He just was getting sticks on the ball handler, and it worked out well.
Addison coming out of X on the near side looking for Smith. Smith will shoot and score! Paxton Smith drills it from 12 yards out. And folks, for the first time since this was a 1-0 game, early in the first quarter, the Scots have trimmed the lead to a single goal. Torrey Pines 11, Highland Park 10 with 8:32 to play.
Yeah, and I think the shooter really, it was kind of really just an eye fake. The goalie came out, he was looking, and he just opened up to the far side, and they just popped it in on the near side, and really just kind of a look-away fake. And sometimes that's all you got to do with these crafty goalkeepers is keep them on their toes and use your eye contact, a little bit of body language, and that might just give you that space that you need.
And the Highland Park student section, who's been standing this entire game, now in full throat, cheering on their lacrosse squad as they now have a 1-goal disadvantage with just under 8.5 to play. The Torrey Pines Falcons win the faceoff, but it's a loose ground ball, and boy, they're going after each other like middle linebackers and running backs out there for that ball. And now Dornwind will control for the Falcons. And some very aggressive contact out here in the fourth quarter of tonight's game at Highlander Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, they are playing for these 50-50 balls.
Now coming in on the near side, that's number 17 with the ball, Matthew Manarino. They'll go back up top to Jacob Mendez. Mendez with 4 goals on the evening. He's now been outscored individually by Parker Addison with 5. Washburn will go up top to Pryor. They'll try the far side, and there's a goal for James Duncan and Torrey Pines. Duncan got just enough daylight to go across the front of Ben Abel and go into the far corner to put it back to a 2-goal lead.
Again, on that wide angle on that shot, and they've been pumping that thing all night long and making Abel work his cross hand. And I think they have book on these guys. They look at these goalies. They know what they want to. They know where to put it. All these kids, every kid on this field has a shot, and they know where they need to put it. They know how to work the goalie, and know what the disadvantages are.
And now the score: Torrey Pines 12, Highland Park 10, with just over 7.5 remaining in regulation. A loose ground ball still on the turf, scooped up by Highland Park. The long stick midi, number 33, Ben Boyer, secures possession. Musa shot, blocked, deflected in front, and it will be Highland Park ball. And a furious scrum there for the ball, by both teams. The ground ball, that ball on the ground for a good 15 seconds before Boyer picked it up.
Yeah, and that whole thing opened up the transition for Moose to get loose down the middle, and he took off. They closed late with just a desperate stop, put 2 bodies on him. If they wouldn't have got there, I think that would have been popped to the back of the net.
And now Paxton Smith with the ball. He'll move it into X, 45 on the shot clock for Highland Park. Smith now charging out of X, looking up front. The pass off the mark, intended for Quinn Gordon. He'll get the ball back. A shot, skip shot, saved by Andrew Cook. A nice shot there by Quinn Gordon, but just not enough velocity to get it past the net of Andrew Cook. It remains a 2-goal advantage for Torrey Pines. Now, Dornwind loses the ball, but he picks it right back up. Another loose ground ball, scooped up coming to the near side. And that's number 17, Manarino, working on the near side with Blake Washburn.
Again, that transition defense by Highland Park stymied the Torrey Pines offense, and just kind of settled down that hot run.
And now we approach the midway point of this fourth quarter, down to 40 on the shot clock for Torrey Pines as they have a 2-goal lead. And they're trying to take some time off the clock here at Highlander Stadium. Working up top, number 30, Rylan Roach, alongside Matthew Manarino. Now Manarino with the ball, wearing number 17. Furiously marked there by Hudson Jones. Washburn now goes back across, looking for Roach. Roach looking for a shot. It's not there. He'll dish to Washburn. 15 on the shot clock. As we approach 5.5 to play. The shot wide. Loose ball on the far sideline. Picked up by Highland Park. Another great defensive stand for the Scots with 5:20 to play in the fourth quarter.
Harrison Wheeler with one of the most difficult ground balls I've seen tonight. He had to reach around behind the attackman from Torrey Pines to pull that thing out. He got loose on it, got separation, and then now they roll into a clear.
And getting the ball, no. The Torrey Pines defense. A backcourt violation, if you will, as the Scots unable to get the ball across the timeline in time. And Torrey Pines now has possession with less than 5 minutes to play, leading by 2.
Yeah, and they are, Highland Park is out playing perimeter defense and really kind of, Torrey Pines was happy to play perimeter pass around on their offense, and now they're kind of forcing them out.
Mendez now with the ball, looking for goal number 5. Save, Ben Abel. Abel quickly outletting to midfield to Hudson Jones. They'll play the man advantage. Jones, Addison, dishing to Gordon. Shot, goal! No, that's not Gordon, that's Harris Sands. A great offensive sequence there, but we've got a penalty flag on the field. Let's check that call with our officiating crew. If that stands, that's the goal of the night right there.
That's good. Yeah, I think that's a good goal. I think what you're going to find out is you're going to have Torrey Pines get assessed here, I think.
And it looks like it may be a penalty against Torrey Pines. The goal is good. And the Torrey Pines player called for cross-checking. So not only do the Highland Park Scots score here with 4:24 remaining in regulation, they now go on the job with the man advantage. And an opportunity, Jim, to tie this game since we started at 0-0.
Exactly, and if you're Torrey Pines face-off guy, you're sitting there going, okay, what's this guy going to do now? Because he has absolutely nothing to stop him from getting this thing to a man.
And the ball scooped up by Highland Park. Highland Park looking to tie the game for the first time tonight. Addison up top, and they'll take timeout as Coach Pressler will talk this over with his squad. We'll step aside with the teams, folks. Timeout on the field, 4:15 to play in regulation. Torrey Pines 12, Highland Park 11. Back in a moment on Game On Sports Network.
We've done both, new and pre-owned. It's the same experience. It's everything's the same. They make it too easy to even think about going anywhere else.
Discover our wide variety of pre-owned vehicles at Sewell.com today.
I put a lot of mileage on my car. So I am practically at Sewell every 3 months. Every single time that I go, it's amazing. Everybody is welcoming, everybody is professional, everybody is kind. It's just like easy, fast, right to the point. You're in, you're out. Cannot imagine being with anybody else but Sewell. Their customer service is absolutely flawless. I drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and L-certified vehicles at our Dallas and Fort Worth Sewell Lexus locations.
I'll sit down, have a cup of cappuccino, a cookie, read a book. When the car is ready, they come get me. It's a great way to start a Saturday.
Discover our wide variety of new and L-certified vehicles at our Dallas and Fort Worth Sewell Lexus locations.
I love the idea.
And folks, we welcome you back here to the final 4 minutes and 15 seconds of this fourth quarter in this interstate high school men's lacrosse match between your Highland Park Scots and the San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons. The previous goal scored by number 20, Harris Sands. And now Highland Park with the opportunity to tie the game. They have a man-up advantage for the next 35 seconds, and they need to score here while they have the one-man-up advantage. Working up top, Paxton Smith and Harris Sands. Shot. Is that in? No, it came out. It hit the top of the crossbar and came out of goal. It looked like it was inside the net, but it wasn't. And now we go back up top. Fresh shot clock, 13 remaining in the penalty. Sands scrambling for the ground ball. It's loose toward midfield. And possession will be awarded to Torrey Pines. Torrey Pines 12. Highland Park 11 as we play lacrosse with 3.5 remaining in the fourth.
Yeah, Torrey Pines, I mean, they're trying to make a run with their transition, and they want to get the right personnel on field, and they're just trying to make a run, and they kind of got stymied there a little bit, and now they have to set up and work from the top.
And now with less than 60 on the shot clock and just over 3 minutes to play in regulation, Torrey Pines in possession with that single goal lead. Manarino looking to put a move on Alexander Shadle. He still has possession, now being worked on by Nathan Harper. Shot clock under 40.
Yeah, credit the Highland Park defense. If there's a ball, there's a man on you.
And now back in X with number 44, James Duncan. He's being marked by Paxton Smith. The shot clock now moving under 25 with 2.5 to play in regulation. And the Falcons very deliberate here with a 1-goal lead as they're looking for the perfect shot late in this shot clock. Jacob Mendez thinking about a low shot. He'll go into the middle. And a backhander off the mark by Manarino. He tried a little trickeration there, and the ball goes out of bounds with 2:15 remaining in regulation. And now Highland Park will be in possession with a full 80-second shot clock. And Jim, this is pretty much a must-score possession for the Scots.
Well, I mean, you definitely want to convert, particularly in this situation.
The ball loose on the far sideline, still in bounds. It's off the leg of Torrey Pines, and Highland Park will inbound. 60 on the shot clock.
And they really need to take advantage of it because they've been kind of sloppy with it. They're kind of rushed. They need to settle down. They need to pick their shots and work their offense.
Number 25, Benjamin Trask, manhandling Brian Rapp in X. He's now double teamed in X as they offload to Addison on the far side. Harris Sands up top. Shot. Quinn Gordon save Andrew Cook. And Andrew Cook read that one all the way, making the save for the Falcons.
Yeah, and Highland Park to a degree here has kind of conceded the transition. They're opting to set up their defense and get their personnel package on the field and have these good stands that they have had, throughout the fourth period.
And folks, we have the clock stopped here with 1:15 remaining in the fourth quarter. A timeout taken by Torrey Pines. We'll take timeout as well. Back in a moment here on Game On Sports Network.
Sewell is definitely a part of my family. Everyone, just has this great smile that we are happy to see you. We're so glad you're here. They really care about people. And that's not something you find at every dealership. I love to leave a dealership feeling peaceful, and I've never experienced that until Sewell. I drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Buick GMC.
I actually look forward to car.
And folks, back here at Highlander Stadium, Brian Shackelford and Jim Dixon bringing you tonight's action between the San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons and your Highland Park Scots. And Jim, Highland Park on defense right now. Torrey Pines in possession of the ball. There's 1:15 remaining, 75 seconds remaining on the game clock, 64 seconds remaining on the shot clock. And Coach Zizzi is talking this over. He took the timeout, Torrey Pines did, to set up a play here. But if you're Highland Park and Coach Pressler, at what point do you really have to start pressing defensively and take that ball away?
Basically, as soon as you break huddle. I mean,
right
honestly, you're coming out to get aggressive. You got to force them to turn the ball over. You got to force them to make a mistake, force an error, take advantage of it, convert quickly, tie this thing up. See what you can do with another face-off. And with Moose out there, the way he's been playing in the whole second half, I mean, your odds are very good. The only enemy you have is the clock.
Indeed, and with 75 seconds remaining in regulation play, we're at the point now where it appears the Scots are going to have to risk or have aggression and really get defensively aggressive to the point of risking penalties at this point to try and dislodge that ball from Torrey Pines. Now Manarino bringing the ball back into play for the Falcons. He's being worked on, double teamed in X, loses the ball, scoops it back up as the shot clock moves under 55. Manarino begging for help as he's double teamed in X. 1 minute to play in the fourth quarter. He'll offload to Mendez. Mendez, the goalkeeper, all the way up playing defense, as Ben Abel is all the way out of his net. And Coach Zizzi didn't like what he saw there. He'll call his second and final timeout with 54.8 remaining.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't have a problem with Abel out playing defense. He's a very athletic kid. He's got some He's got some lacrosse IQ. The conversion of a pass is what's going to do you in, and he can't be out that far out and then get back in goal and do his job. But you got to like it. I mean, okay, great, you beat us, you beat us by 2.
Right,
okay.
Almost the hockey equivalent of an empty net when you pull the goalie and put the 6th attacker out there. But rather than do that, we've been able with the athletic skill to play down here in the defensive end. But you're right, Jim. I mean, the goalkeeper is all by his lonesome down there. If they're able to get away and score here, there's nobody left downfield for Highland Park.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, yeah, again, you're down 1. You got to force the issue. You really have to. You got to press Torrey Pines into making a mistake and have a quick conversion. And your transition offense is key at this point. And from what I've seen in the second half, I mean, Highland Park is down. At this point, they just may run out of time.
Right. This may be one of those games where neither team loses, just one team runs out of time, as we have 54.8 remaining here in the 4th quarter. And the defensive effort by Highland Park, very effective earlier, as they double-teamed Washburn and X and almost rode him out of bounds. Will come back into play as in possession. That's number 25, Benjamin Trask. He is just running away from Nathan Harper, running around in a big clockwise circle, rather. The shot clock down to 25. Trask now trapped on the near side. They're trying to get the ball away from him. Trask now will dive in. He'll offload to number 12, John Pryor. Penalty flags come into play. And it looks like this is going to be it for Highland Park as Trask goes down. And with Torrey Pines still in possession and no penalty call, it appears this penalty call is coming up against Highland Park. A shot clock violation with 10.7 seconds remaining. But the penalty call here going against Highland Park will also give Torrey Pines the ball.
Yeah, I mean, and it's unfortunate that, especially watching the Scots put together a complete game as they have done tonight against a quality opponent, and you gotta like what they've done. You feel like, okay, this doesn't go against your record.
No,
I mean, this is just two quality teams locking up and really just trying to figure out who's the better of the two. So there's not really any losing motivation in this contest. So you got to like what you see coming out of this thing with Highland Park, what they've shown you.
And folks, we've got another timeout on the field here with 10.7 remaining, as Coach Mike Pressler and Highland Park will take their final timeout. We'll take our final timeout as well. We'll be back in just a moment here on Game On Sports Network. And folks, we welcome you back here to Highlander Stadium, as now both teams out of timeouts. 10.7 seconds remaining. And the penalty call going against number 15, Wesley Iverson, one of the senior captains for Highland Park. So he's on the board in the sin bin for 1 minute. And Torrey Pines will have possession with 10.7 remaining. And down a man, you would think here that the Falcons will be content to just rag out these final 10.7 seconds and take the victory. But they lose the ball out of bounds. And Highland Park gets the ball back with 6 seconds to play.
And they have to effectively clear the length of the field, and unfortunately we're unable to do so.
And the long pass downfield unsuccessful to Harris Sands as the horn sounds, ending tonight's game. Ladies and gentlemen, the final horn is sounded here at Highlander Stadium, bringing our intrastate men's high school lacrosse match to a close. And folks, your final score here tonight from Highland Park, Texas. San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons 12, your Highland Park Scots 11. And Jim, after being down late in the first half by a score of 8-2, Highland Park has come back and outscored the Falcons in the final, what would that be, 30 minutes of this game. I mean, the first 18 minutes of this game, Torrey Pines has an 8-2 lead. Now, over the final 30 minutes of this game, Highland Park outscores their opponent by a score of 9-4. So the Scots, with a single goal loss this season, they suffer their first defeat in the 2023 campaign, falling to 6-1 on the year. But these young men have nothing to hang their heads about this evening here at Highlander Stadium.
Oh, no, not at all. And you can see by the reaction from Torrey Pines, I mean, they feel like they've accomplished something, which, I mean, is a tribute to what Highland Park does and what they've become as far as their reputation in the state of Texas. So, I mean, Torrey Pines kind of feels like they won the Texas State Championship tonight. Now they may feel differently tomorrow.
Indeed, as they've got another game in less than 24 hours time, 2.4 miles from here at Ranger Stadium against the Jesuit Rangers, who are the two-time defending Texas High School Lacrosse League AA champions, and AA is the highest bracket in the Texas High School Lacrosse League. And quite honestly, here in the second half, Jim, they had their hands full. I mean, this was a 9-7 game. As we went to halftime, it ends up being a 12-11 final score. So, 3 goals against, the Scots outscore them 4-3 here in the second half.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it goes back to what the foundation that Coach Pressler's trying to instill here, and he wants these kids to come out and compete, and he's going to give them opportunities. I mean, nobody in their right mind would have scheduled Highland or would have scheduled the Woodlands early in the season, particularly down there on a road trip, and very beneficial for this team, because a lot of the mistakes that we've seen early have been corrected. A lot of the sharpness that they were searching for is on the sideline, and these kids they have a better grip of what they are and what they have to do, and it's one of these things where you lose the battle and you win the war, and okay, they have a loss on their record. It doesn't count for anything. It doesn't, just like a win would have been, other than beating a California state champion.
Right, the 4-time defending California Interscholastic Federation state champion Torrey Pines Falcons, and definitely, as we said here, I mean, this is the kind of opponent that you want. Coach Pressler wants to expand the footprint of this program. He wants to develop this lacrosse team into the upper echelon of Texas lacrosse, as lacrosse players everywhere, and the entire lacrosse movement around this state is pushing to make lacrosse a UIL sport. Why they picked water polo for this last 2-year session to be UIL sport and not men's lacrosse, I have no idea. But that's the way it is. And perhaps lacrosse comes back up on the agenda for 2024. But, this is how you do this. You have quality, I use club in air quotes because the Highland Park Independent School District heavily supports this team. You could see the support from the student body. The fan base was fantastic. And showing the Texas community at large, because it's a heavy football state, let's admit it, but lacrosse, just such a fantastic sport, that if they can show the value and quality of what lacrosse can do here in the state of Texas, it may just push things over the edge to make lacrosse a UIL sport here in the very near future.
Yeah, I don't know. Last time I checked, I was at Dick's, and they don't even carry swimming pools, but they have lacrosse helmets. So
they've got lacrosse helmets and crosses, don't they?
So I have no comparison, but my gut is that a lacrosse helmet is cheaper than a swimming pool.
That would be, yeah. I'm going to look that up on the internet just to double check you. I want to fact check you on that one.
Yeah, you want to fact check away.
Yeah, but I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Just off ballpark top of my head. But the fact is here, with Highland Park playing an outstanding game here this evening, a 1-goal loss to the team that has won the last 4 state championships in the state of California, that is quite an accomplishment here for the Scots this evening at Highlander Stadium.
Well, and Highland, or Torrey Pines comes in here with a wonderful reputation, with a background of excellence, and the fact that Coach Pressler decided to schedule these guys, hats off to him again for doing so. And anytime you want to challenge yourself, you want to walk in and find the biggest guy in the room and challenge yourself. And obviously with Torrey Pines, I mean, they're sitting over there with more studs than a Kentucky horse farm, and you took them to a 1-goal loss, and that, I think that's going to pay dividends down the road. And as this team progresses on into the playoffs and into the tight part of the latter part of the season where they're scheduling these rivalries that matter. I mean, those are beneficial wins and losses, and they're going to really disrupt and set your seeding as you guys proceed along.
And more importantly, as we watch this game here tonight, I would think that the most interested spectators that were here in Highlander Stadium this evening were a group of young men that were sitting down here to our left, right down on the front row, that I don't think many people paid attention to. But that group right there was the lacrosse team that this Highland Park Scots squad will play tomorrow morning at high noon, and that's the Lake Travis Cavaliers, as they were very interested to see how Highland Park could square up against this California team here this evening.
Maybe they're just big fans of good lacrosse games.
And folks, we'll have that game for you right here tomorrow morning on Game On Sports. We'll be on air at 11:50 a.m. with the face-off at high noon for your next Highland Park lacrosse game, right here live from Highlander Stadium, as your Highland Park Scots will look to avenge tonight's loss against the Lake Travis Cavaliers. Once again, that is 11:50 start time tomorrow morning, right here from Highlander Stadium with face-off at high noon, as your Highland Park Scots will host Lake Travis. Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up here for us tonight. And Jim, as we close, your final thoughts here on tonight's match against the Torrey Pines Falcons.
Hey, it was an outstanding game. I mean, quite a treat for all that was here. And you guys at home on the interwebs, and this has been just a great game. With two outstanding teams, and both teams probably got a lot of benefit out of it.
Indeed, they did, as this will serve both Highland Park and Torrey Pines well, as they both have matches tomorrow. Torrey Pines moving just over the other side of the tollway to take on the Dallas Jesuit Rangers. And as we just mentioned, your Highland Park Scots right back in action tomorrow at high noon here at Highlander Stadium against the Lake Travis Cavaliers. Well, folks, as we say goodnight here from Highlander Stadium, we want to take a moment and thank everyone responsible for bringing you our broadcast here this evening. The executive producer of Game On Sports is Fred Garner. Tonight's match was produced by Trevor Von Dam and directed by Tim Polster. The sights and sounds of tonight's broadcast were brought to you by our outstanding camera crew, David Hoyt, Chris Reniger, Garrett Hayes, Matthew Bryce, Tyler Rodriguez, and Vonnie. Also, a special thanks to our administrators back at the home office, Lisa Carrillo and Sarah Beasley. Tonight's Highland Park Lacrosse broadcast is a copyrighted production of Game On Sports Network and the Highland Park Independent School District. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the pictures and accounts of this broadcast without the express consent of Game On Sports Network and the Highland Park Independent School District is strictly prohibited. Well, that wraps it up this evening for us from Highlander Stadium. Folks, we want to thank you for spending your Friday night with us, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow afternoon for our next Highland Park Scots lacrosse broadcast right here on Game On Sports. So until then, on behalf of my broadcast partner, Jim Dixon, and our entire Game On Sports production crew, this is Brian Shackelford, thanking you for joining us this evening and for your continued support of Highland Park Scots Lacrosse. Your final score again tonight from Highlander Stadium: San Diego Torrey Pines Falcons 12, your Highland Park Scots 11. Until next time, good night, and God bless from Highland Park, Texas.
You know how I get down, yeah, we can break it down.